Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at some of the stocks that were in play today here to close out the week. And yeah, the first one I want to show you here is X. This is Steel Group, closed up 14% today with the steel tariff. This has just been on fire this week. You know, the RSI now is at 73. You got Fasto at 95. Notice how it's able to head higher above 80 on Fasto and above 70 on RSI. So this is signaling that it's really heating up here and breaking out to the next level. As you can see, it was on a multi-day run this week. You know, you've got the 6 green volume bars in a row with the giant volume spike this week, and there was a close well above the upper Bollinger Band. So this could have been a climax spike. We'll have to see following a multi-day run. If the candles pull back into the bands, what you want to see is EMA 4 at 40.57 hold, and then you want to see this high close resistance level turn into support, which was the closing price here on the 29th. So 41 is a big support level to hold on a pullback. You know, notice you have the MACD bull crosses on both time frames, and there was a PSAR bull flip last week on Tuesday. The green dots flip below the candles, and the only reason why I say that is because when you get this many green volume bars in a row, you have to be on the lookout for a potential pause in the uptrend. Just because nothing goes straight up, and then you have the giant volume spike following the multi-day run. Many times that is a climax spike. Now take a look at the call options for X. They returned some monster percentage gains today. I mean, if you look at the share price, you know, it was up 14, nearly 15%, but look at this. I mean, we're talking 7,100%, 4,000%, you know, giant percentage gains. I mean, oh, look at this one right here. I missed that, 15,100% in one day. In one day. This was a Friday expiration, and it closed strong. I mean, this is a very, very impressive gains. I mean, 9,000%, 8,000%. You know, the people rocked it trading the options here. So yeah, we've been doing the options plays in our chat, so I recommend you come and check that out. I've also been putting together study groups for beginning options traders, and we've just been going over the basics to get people started. So if you'd like to join that, please send me a message. You can post the message below the YouTube video, or you could come check out the chat and send me a direct message. Okay, now look at the X weekly chart. And you can see here it closed up 30% for the week. So that was a huge, you know, this is a monster move for such a large cap stock like this to have a 30% gain in a week. And as you can see, you know, a 30% gain, those option gains are just for today. I mean, those are returning gains all throughout the week. So it's mind-blowing the types of returns you can get trading options. If you see here on the weekly chart, it closed back above the high close resistance level from back here in March or February of 2017. That was the big level to break. It had closed above that level in January, but then it dropped back below. And so today the close above not only February high close of 2017, but then breaking out above January high close, that's signaling that it wants to break out higher. It did close above the upper Bollinger Band. So what you want to see now if you're a bull, you want to see this kind of pattern where it's just riding the upper Bollinger Band higher, and then you want to see EMA 4 down here at 39.50. You want to see that level turn into support on a pullback, and now you just want to see candles riding the EMA 4 support higher. You know, it really needs to stay above this 39.50 level, and then also that 41 level again is the huge level to hold. And then take a look at the X monthly chart. So since, you know, if you look at the weekly chart here, it's breaking out on the weekly chart. So as you can see here, there's no overhead resistance. So we needed to go further out, and so what we're looking now is at this multi-year monthly chart, and you can see here it's hitting the upper wick on this candle. So this is the 2014 high. It closed right at that level, right at the July 2014 high level. That you know, this has not been at these levels since 2014. This is a monster move. I mean, notice it started way down here at 20. So you know, the share price has more than doubled, and in a short period, you know, over the course of the last several months. And then now it's at this very crucial level, this 44.75 level. If it can break above that, then you're looking at the 50s. You know, you have the 2011 resistance back here and 2010. And so you know, there's going to be be some resistance between 50 and 55, but 55 is a big level, and then 60 is a really big level. So it looks like it's working its way to that level. If it tops out here at this 45, 47.50 level, that could signal a temporary top, and then it might pull back and just test EMA4. It might take a pause for a week, but then if EMA4 is holding on the monthly chart, it just signals more upside potential. Keep in mind, this month's candle will not set until the closing bell on the last trading day of the month. So this candle will keep changing until that day. Okay, take a look at RIOT. Okay, this was the big, got crushed today on CNBC. They did a big, all through the day they kept reposting their attempt to interview the CEO, just the whole nightmare that's going on now with RIOT, and it got hit super hard. The chart was heating up. I had been posting charts on this because it was above the middle Bollinger Band, and it had these multiple these multiple kind of more indecision candles in a row here. It was trying to turn the middle Bollinger Band into support. I mean, maybe people knew that the CNBC story was coming. I mean, obviously people must have known because they got interviewed. So just keep that in mind. That it looks like they did this interview a couple days ago, and so might even have been last week. I'm not sure of the timeline on the interview, but today there's a huge drop. Okay, so it gapped down below that middle Bollinger Band, and that was the key level to hold at 1544, and then it also broke the gold line, which was the 100-day simple moving average at 1493. So that signals more downside risk. What it needs to hold now is the closing price here on the 5th. Okay, so that's the big support level. If it fails to break that, fails to hold that level, you can see it bounced off of it intraday. That was the low, bounced right off of it, and then next week, if it drops below, then you're looking at the 200-day simple moving average at 9 as the next key support level. Notice how that's lining up here with this October, the top of the October trading, and so that's going to be big support. And if that breaks, you could see a drop all the way down to 7, which would be the 300-day simple moving average. I mean, the news is bad enough that it could be heading that direction. You've got the big volume spike here. I don't see why people would start loading now. I think more people are going to be heading for the exits than anything. I mean, the whole interview to me came across like this is more like came across like an OTC scam. Now I know they put money into their crypto mining equipment that they paid $11 million for $2 million worth of equipment, and they're supposed to start Bitcoin mining at some point in time. But the bottom line is that to me this appears more like a over-the-counter stock than a stock that should be trading at $11 a share, let alone 18, let alone 46. And the CEO himself, or whoever the guy was, they interviewed him on CNBC, he even said it was crazy that it ran as high as it did. So he admitted that it shouldn't be at such lofty valuations. And so if you look here at the RIOT options, today, obviously the calls got crushed. I mean, look at how, a lot of these were down to, the expirations on February 16th are going to be going down to nothing. But look at the puts. The puts were on fire. You have an 8,000% gainer on the March 16th $14 put. The February 16th were really hot, even though they were expiring today. You had a lot of movement here. There's some more upside potential for the further out puts for the February 23rds and even going out to the March 16th. Those should still be delivering some nice percentage gains if this chart continues to drop lower. Okay, if the share price keeps pulling back, at some point it could bounce. You have to keep following the charts. We can anticipate these moves, but you still have to follow the charts. The 15-minute chart today was telling you to head to the sidelines if you were long. That opening candle below all the moving averages. It started the day. It was trying to hold that 50 simple moving average in the middle and the 100-day simple or 100 simple moving average. It was below the middle Bollinger Band here on the 15-minute chart at the close with that tight Bollinger Band, and then bam, you had the gap down open, probably in anticipation of today's news event, and then it's below that 300 simple moving average. It's currently trading below all the moving averages, but it did pop back above EMA's 4 and 8 down here, and so this is looking like a potential bear flag, where you've got the where it came down, came back up, and then now it's got a break above the horizontal resistance here. If it fails to get back above that middle Bollinger Band at 1186, that's going to signal more downside risk. If it gets back back above that middle Bollinger Band, that's when you're going to see the bounce starting. And so that's going to be the first step. And so if you see RIOT above 12, that's going to be signal that the bounce play has potentially started. And then if you see RIOT below 12, it's going to signal more downside risk and a potential drop down to that 200-day simple moving average. 10, if you see it drop below that February 5th close, 9 would more than likely be tested. Okay, let's look at UAA. Okay, so UAA here, Under Armour, it finally cooled down today. It closed down 5% after a big run. You notice that RSI dropped below 70 and Fasto closed below 80 after being above. So that's a signal that the chart is cooling down. You've got plus DI hooking down. So the candles worked back into the bands today. It did close low of day. Look at the today's candle. There's no lower wick, so it was extreme bearishness into the close. Low of day was the last trade of day. This is a red Maru Bozu candle, and so it just shows that the bears were in control all the way to the last trade of the day. And so now the big support levels to hold are going to be the 200-day simple moving average and EMA 4. Basically, it needs to hold 17, the pink line and the red line. If it could have a technical bounce off that level. It had this really nice run. There's super big volume. If the buyers step back up, they're going to step up at 17. So keep an eye on that level. If they let it drop below 17 and that turns into resistance, that's going to be your major red flag warning. And then the 16s will be on deck, and it'll probably drop down to EMA 8 at 16.19. So it's going to be all about 17 on Tuesday. No trading on Monday. So above 17 signals it could possibly bounce. A close below 17 would signal the 200-day simple moving average here is turning into resistance and not holding the support, and then you could see it consolidate. If it gets below that 200-day simple moving average, that's where you could have that drop all the way back down to the middle Bollinger Band and the 50 and 100-day simple moving average. Notice there's a gap between the top of this candle and the bottom of this candle. So that's the downside risk, is that it pulls back to fill that gap. And then if you look here at the UAA options, you could see here that the puts are heating up down here. And so keep an eye out for them next week. If the share price continues to drop lower, these should continue to increase in value. But keep in mind there was heavy call action last week, and the call, it was super heavy on the call side. Look at the open interest over here. So we're keeping an eye on a pullback now on UAA, and then notice it formed bearish one black crow reversal pattern. And so this is a strong reversal pattern here. Another red candle, we'll go by the red candles, another red candle tomorrow and a lower close than the close today would signal more downside risk. There was an SEC filing today after the close where insiders have been dumping some shares here of UAA. This guy dumped 31,000 shares, and so you have people taking profits at the top there a little bit. There was a big run. Maybe some people had to pay some taxes. That does happen, and as you see down here on the 2-minute UAA chart, you could see it was forming this falling wedge pattern. Okay, so it was making a descending support line and descending resistance, and that was leading into a flex point into the close. And the close did close below the green descending support line, and so that is a red flag. It needs to get back above that level. It's going to be crucial that it holds 17. If it drops below 17 and 17 turns into resistance, that'll be your big signal that there's more downside risk. Notice the red candles heading into the close and the increasing volume. They dumped really heavy into the close with this 700,000 at the last 2 minutes. So it's just interesting action. The largest volume of the day was into the close. So if you look at the weekly chart, this is what happened. It came up and it hit this green line, which is the 50-week moving average. It had traded above it during the week, but it pulled back and it ended up closing below. So the bulls were looking for a close above that level to signal that it wants to head higher. If the 50-week moving average turns into resistance, it fails to break that 1750 resistance zone, that's going to signal a temporary top, and it could pull back and test the middle Bollinger Band, which is down here at 1467. So fail to stay above 17, and that's going to put 15 on deck. As long as that middle Bollinger Band holds, a new uptrend could begin. Notice the other closes above the middle Bollinger Band were followed by red candles on here. It had traded below, closed above, red candle. Was trading below, finally closed above, red candle. So it was trading below, finally closed above, possibly red candle next week, maybe we'll see. Okay, let's look at CLFF. If it gets above that 50-week moving average and that level turns into support next week, that would be extremely bullish. A close above that level would be very, very strong, and that would be a signal that it wants to head higher. So going forward, above 1750 would be extremely bullish for UAA, and so you have to keep an eye out for that. Okay, so CLFF. Let's take a look at CLF. It had a really nice day today, closed up 7%. This has been on a big run as well. RSI is still at 61, so there's still room to run. Notice that it's been on a 5-day run, and then it has that spike as well. You know, when you get the volume bars and then the big spike after a multi-day run, many times it's what we call a climax spike, and it just signals a possible temporary top. So we'll see. You know, it's going to be all about this 300-day simple moving average currently at 765, this blue line. If it can hold that level, that's going to be very bullish, and then we'll be looking for a run back up to this upper Bollinger Band at 850, and then the closing price over here in back here in January will be you know, that would be the top there at 880 would be the big level to head to. As long as this middle Bollinger Band down here at 727 is holding, and the 50-day simple moving average at 7036 is holding, this new uptrend should continue. It just now that it's above that 300-day simple moving average, it needs to stay above for the chart to still be super strong. Notice you have the MACD bull crosses and the PSAR bull flip this week, and so everything was signaling that the chart's heating up. If you look at the calls, you know, they delivered super nice gains today. I mean, look at the February 16th. I mean, they delivered 700% heading into the close. So I mean, you know, even the expirations were delivering nice gains. Yeah. So just always remember, if you get the trade right, you're gonna do better trading the options. But yeah, options do become worthless when they expire, and you have to always keep in mind the time decay. Okay, because decay is a big thing with options. Okay, let's look at CALA, C-A-L-A. Just going to throw out three more real quick here. Closed up 16%, RSI at 53, Fasto at 71, bullish crossover on ADX with the green line crossing the red line. And so the bullish development today was the close above the dotted purple line. That's the middle Bollinger Band, currently at 768. Okay, it was above the 50-day simple moving average intraday. That's that green line at 822. It needs to close above. It's the same analysis for the UAA at the weekly chart. If this stock fails to close above the 50-day simple moving average on this chart, then it'll signal it's not ready to go, and that middle Bollinger Band will likely be tested. If it closes above that level for the day and turns that level into support, that's the signal we're looking for to signal that it wants to head higher. So keep an eye. It had a really big volume spike and a PSAR bull flip, so the chart's really heating up. Look at GALT here. You want to see RSI above 50 if you're a bull. It's right there. Same thing with Fasto. It had this big pullback, and then it hit support down here on the 50-day simple moving average. And then today there was finally a nice close above the pink, lime, and orange lines. It closed above EMAs 4, 8, and 13. That's the bullish development that we look for when a stock's in a downtrend. You know, on the 29th it was above the upper Bollinger Band here, or middle Bollinger Band, and it had just closed a bit below EMAs 4, 8, and 13. And so this is the, you know, it tried a couple times to get above EMA 4, but this is the first time it's closed above all those levels since this white candle. You know, the last time it closed above all three levels would be way back here. Okay, so on the 24th here of January. So this signals that the chart's heating up, and it could possibly get a reversal going. It has to stay above EMA 13 at 428, and then the middle Bollinger Band at 458 is the big level to break. If it can get above that level, it should signal it wants to head higher. Okay, let's look at SMRT. Okay, so this stock is heating up as well. Yeah, this is just a penny stock that's getting a dead cat bounce. The cyclicals and apparel retailers, they were in play this week. We had a lot of stocks in that sector that were penny stocks that were heating up and had charts going. A lot of them had very light volume. You know, this trade 2 million shares. RSI is back above 30. Fasto's above 20. So this got really beaten down. You can see it dropped all the way down to 50 cents. And then today it finally closed above EMAs 4 and 8, the pink and lime line. That's the first close above the lime line since this really got, you know, dropping, you know, since it had the big drop. So that's certainly a possible change in trend here. Notice the volume spike. What has to happen, it has to close above that orange line at 633. So on Tuesday, if you see it above 633, that's going to signal it's in play, and then you want to see it run up here to that middle Bollinger Band at 733. That'll be the next resistance level. It hits that level and fails to break, that would be the profit taking zone. If it hit that level and close above and turn the level into support, a possible new uptrend could start. Many times when you get a dead cat bounce like this, the middle Bollinger Band signals the top of the run. For bear bearish stocks that are forming candles in the lower bearish Bollinger Band channel. The lower Bollinger Band, the solid purple line, is the lower Bollinger Band, and the dotted purple line right here is the lower Bollinger Band is the bottom of the channel, and the middle Bollinger Band is the top of the channel. And so right now this is in a downtrend, and it's working its way from the bottom of the channel, the lower Bollinger Band, to the middle Bollinger Band, which is the top of the channel. But you have to keep in mind it's the top of the channel. So if it fails to break, it's the take profit zone. Okay, so always keep that in mind. It has to turn that middle Bollinger Band into support, which is also the 20-day simple moving average, to get a new uptrend going. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this video. If you'd like to learn more about charts and technical analysis, come check out our chat. You know, we post lots of information all through the day. We're there to help, and yeah, everybody's learning, and it's a good learning environment. So everybody's welcome. Yeah, and have a great holiday weekend. All right, thanks so much for viewing.